process. But one thing I'd like you to look at, across the way we have the Crimson, which will be opening up very soon. We have a wonderful bakery right down here, and across the way we have the Wheel. We'll be walking through there. If you haven't gone to those places, I highly suggest them. Fantastic. Next story. In Pottsville, for about 20 years' time, there was a sociopath that terrorized the citizens. The year's 1921, and the gentleman's name was known as Patrick Hudson. Now, when Patrick was born, he was born to a very wealthy family. You know, his father was a businessman. And Patrick was a very bright student growing up. But his parents and teachers noticed something early on. He was a little bit of a ruthless kid. Oftentimes, he would beat up classmates if he didn't get his own way. He was notoriously just horrible to animals, and they would try to keep him away as much as they can. As time went on, they noticed that this increased in the way he would do things. At the age of 8 years old, there was an incident when Patrick was actually with a playmate, and they were at a coal hole. Now, first off, does everyone know what a coal hole is?
No.
Okay, I'm glad to ask. Coal hole is basically a huge hole that fills in with water that was dug by the coal company. And what would happen is people from the area within the scoop would go and actually dive in and go swimming. Well, Patrick and his playmate, who was 8 years old, went that day. The playmate mysteriously drowned. Now, they were the only two there. Patrick was questioned about what had taken place, and yet he denied knowing a thing. And sure enough, he was never arrested or taken care of, but it seemed like every time they mentioned it to him, a grin would come upon his face. So, I'm not exactly sure what happened there. As Patrick eventually got older, through the 1940s and 50s, he wreaked havoc within Pottsville. He was responsible for many arsons. He was responsible for drive-by shootings, especially at a bar known as O'Neill's down by Union Station. Yeah, Pottsville had drive-by shootings. He was also known for many, many assaults, and in particular, he assaulted a police officer with a sword. Every single time, it seemed Patrick was able to get off. And most people believe it's because his father would pay off the people that were trying to prosecute. Now, as I said, Patrick was a very, very intelligent person. He actually went to the University of Penn and studied finance. And if you look across the street, we have the Thompson Building. Now, the Thompson Building was built in 1909, and it was the first skyscraper that was built within Pottsville. And please keep in mind, Pottsville skyscraper, not New York City, mind. But the reason this is brought up, Patrick would actually go in here and he would work during the day and then would leave. Now, oftentimes people would say he wouldn't really work, but he would rest, because Patrick was notorious for going out during the night. One of his favorite activities, if someone crossed him, he would go to their home late at night, stand by a window. He would wait for a person to turn on a light and walk into the room and just stare. When the person would see them, actually turn and see Patrick standing there, he would smile and walk away. It's an intimidation tactic. That would work for me. It would intimidate me. But he was known to do this. Eventually, Patrick did die, and beforehand, of course, he did spend 19 years in prison. They finally got him for assault. The reason I bring up the Thompson Building, as I said, he worked here, and there have been some odd occurrences since Patrick left us here on this earth. In particular, the Thompson Building is very well known for its Otis elevator. Beautiful elevator within there, and they actually had an elevator operator. Well, he would only work so long. But yet they noticed that nighttime, the elevator would kind of go up and down the floors by itself. It seemed that it would stop where Patrick had his office. And oftentimes they would say it's the ghost of Patrick still staying in Pottsville, just to remind you he's there. Now, as you walk by, I do want to point out, you know, besides the ghost, mind you, of course, it's a beautiful building. And hopefully it's used again. Now, this is going to be one of our main streets we have to cross, so I'll stop.
Reminds me of shape. There's the building. Oh, could be.
Looks like campus.
I'll try to carry it. You're good. It's so quite line.
Yeah, they.
I can't take you anywhere. No,
Okay, in that case, you could have it.
huh?
In that case, you could have it.
Give it to me then. I'm going to be drinking it soon.
Walk sign is on.
Oh, look at the puppy. Hey, puppy. Huh?
I drove my back open a lot.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our next stop. Major roads are pretty much over, so we're in good shape. We still have everyone. Back in 1914, December of 1914, Pottsville had a major fire known as the Great Pottsville Fire. What happened was about 3 a.m., there was a patrolman on duty walking throughout the city. He went past this block right here from Norwegian all the way down to Monotongo. What he noticed was there was a Woolworths right down from us here. He noticed that there was smoke within the Woolworths, and that kind of worried him right away. So he ran and he tried to get proper people to come in and find out what was going on. Unfortunately, by the time he came back, Woolworths was completely ablaze, completely on fire. And because it was so close to the Christmas holiday, it was absolutely supplied with Christmas supplies. Everything from decorations to extra materials to sell at that time. Now, the blaze just took hold, and it actually wiped out the entire block, except for the building we're standing by right now. This bank is the only thing that stayed up. The sad part is, the building itself and the whole block could have been saved, but there was actually a clog in the line down underneath. So the firefighters valiantly tried to do their best to try to get the fire taken care of, but unfortunately the whole block basically went down. Believe it or not, with all those firefighters trying to fight the blaze, there were no deaths. There was only one injury, a firefighter who actually had burns on his face. So very lucky with that. Unfortunately, 300 people were left jobless right before the holiday season. So it's a very tragic thing. Estimates right now for the damage from that fire are about $24 million, which was staggering for the city at that time.
That kid was a ghost.
It could be. But it is nice.
How far does the bank go? I want to know what else was in here.
Hi, Danny. Tina.
None of this stuff was there. No. Woolworths.
I used to go to this drugstore.
There was a Woolworths not for. I think it's John Fardy.
Stop playing with the top of my bottle.
I forgot a lid on it.
So what? So what? I still got to drink it. Your hands off.
You don't got a drink today.
You want one of these?
No, he's in that one. Very back.
Oh no, here we go uphill. Now where we can't breathe. Look, already out of breath.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, right now we're